Back to the Ask Dr. Tammy show. I'm here with my guest, who never gets to be a guest. He's always the interviewer, Norm Allen, and he's read the book, and it's really hard to get people to be on camera sometimes, so he is going to be my guinea pig and talk a little bit about the book.
Well, I'm a little nervous because I never always have control.
Well, you can have control. That's
I
okay.
can. The only thing that I'm going to control is, you got to know the title of the book. It's called Healthy Ambition, Tools for Taking Charge of Your Health Care by our world-famous, soon-to-be award-winning author, Dr. Tammy Tucker. There.
Yeah, that was
Proper
good.
plug, right?
Yeah, proper plug. Yeah. Yeah, of course we're going to get
When I was reading the book, one of the things that I noticed, and you're going to find out more about this as you talk about it with Bob in particular in just a little while, you have a lot of checklists, and it's really a workbook more than it is just a reference book from what I could see. But one of the things that I noticed all the way through it is you always talk about communication. And that's kind of interesting to me, that a doctor emphasizes communication so much, because most doctors don't have time for that. But that's something you really want to do in this, isn't it?
And that's key, because a lot of times when doctors see checklists come in, which yes, I want you to use it as a checklist when you go so you can be prepared, but I want it to be received well. I don't want the doctor to go, oh my gosh, they're a problem patient, not another grocery list of problems. I want them to perceive it as you are prepared, you got your ducks in a row, and you know what you're going to ask, and you know what you need, and they're going to view this as a time savings. And that communication is not that you're going to, these guys have gone to, or women have gone to school for a long time, and you're not trying to put them on edge or anything, or that you're trying to show them up, or that you know something they don't. That's the communication part, is to encourage them to take some of this communication to heart, and how to present it, so that you're not perceived as someone who's being bossy or anything, and you're still kind of leaving it open for them to have a little control, but yet how to use the tools so that everyone benefits, win-win.
So if I were to fill out some of the charts in here and come in with something that I thought was wrong with me, really a person's in charge of their own health.
Absolutely.
The doctor is a custodian of that health, but the person is in charge of that, right?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest motivations for me to write the book is we are becoming more and more a consumer society, and our healthcare is a consumer society. We spend as much per week on healthcare, if we are buying insurance, as we do on our food or our electricity. It's just astronomical what our insurance rates run us. So we are consumers, and we need to get our money's worth. So you are responsible ultimately. We've moved with HMOs and things like that into these realms where doctors are forced to see 30, 40, 50 patients a day. They're very busy. So you want to be prepared, and you want to know what you need when you go in there, and ultimately you are responsible. The doctor's not going to say, you didn't get that, so let me remember to ask you at the next visit. You need to know what you need.
Sure. With the thousands of diseases and symptoms and everything, it's almost as endless as there are people. How did you decide on this particular group of diseases and problems that you see in your book?
These are based on the most common things I see in my practice. I have a family practice. It's a busy family practice. So from day to day, these are the most common things I see. So there are lots of other diseases and symptoms that come in, but these are the ones I see day to day. So there are lots of other resources you can go to, and I've kind of got a little section in there too about valuable resources and reliable resources. But as far as day to day things, these are the things I see the most, and so I'm just assuming that other practices are seeing these too. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer. Lung cancer's up there, breast cancer's up there. So of course I'm going to put some little blurbs in there, because those are the most common things we see.
But one of the things that I see is also by symptoms rather than just diseases, and I think that's real interesting, because if I say I have low back pain and I don't know why, there's a little section in the book you can turn and read it'll tell you not only what the symptom is, what some signs of other things are, but it also lists several of the tests that could be called upon to diagnose what the real problem might be. That's really cool to me, because you never know. I come in with a cough, I may look up cough in here, and it's going to say, this is what the doctor's going to look for, so I know how to react to that, right?
Exactly. And it saves them time because, you know, if the doctor says, I want to get a chest x-ray, you're not like, well, why do you want to get a chest x-ray? You know, it kind of explains things up front and, you know, your expectations and, you know, and the doctor may have a good reason why they don't want to do that test. And, you know, ultimately, you need to kind of rely on the doctor to make that decision because they have, you know, the knowledge and the basis. But, you know, it doesn't hurt to say, I've had this back pain for 6 months, and I really think that, you know, an MRI could be helpful to look in there and see what's going on.
And you also went through vitamin deficiencies and
I love that.
Just general things that are important for us to know about.
I like some of the logs I have in there. I have like a blood pressure log, so if you're having trouble with your blood pressure, it's a good place to record. I've got some medication logs, so if you've ever had problem medications that you had reactions to. Most of the time in my practice, one of the things I spend the most time on is going through medicines that haven't worked for patients in the past. How many different blood pressure medicines have you tried? And so I try to keep up with that in my software when I do my dictations and everything, what medicines they've tried and failed in the past. But, you know, it's ultimately your responsibility to know those. And I have patients sometimes with lists of 10 different medicines that they've had reactions to or side effects that they didn't tolerate. And, you know, every once in a while that will fall through the cracks, and I'll end up writing them another script for that because we've both forgotten that they were on that medicine at one time. And it's a good medicine, it just wasn't good for them. So it's something to keep track of that so that doesn't happen. It saves expense. Globally, it'll save a lot of expense if I can get people to really use this and, you know, ascribe to it, because if, you know, even just on a little level, if that's one prescription that you haven't filled that didn't work and didn't work again, you know, if everyone's doing that on a daily basis.
I mean, this is great. I mean, look, here's a doctor's visit checklist. Here's a physical exam checklist. So if you're going to have a physical, you tell us what to expect when you get to the doctor, so you're prepared for it mentally. It's not so stressful for you. Perfect. There's a symptoms diary to write things down on, a new medication checklist, a health maintenance, medication logs. I mean, this is really an important book for every member of your family to have their own individual copy of it, so you can keep the individual charts that's necessary.
And one thing that I have always thought is, I'm not out to become a millionaire on this. If you just want to get one copy and photocopy all these pages in here, I have no problem with that, and I even say that in the book.
We want you to buy one
we want
copy
you to buy a lot of books. But, you know, I just want it used. I just want people to embrace it and take charge of their health care, and you know, really take to heart that this, like you said, is your responsibility, because no one else is going to do it for you. I mean, the doctor may do, you know, little baby steps along the way and, you know, order a test and things like that, but the big picture is ultimately your responsibility.
Well, and there's many people who are 50 plus years old, not you, but some of us,
getting there.
We're getting to the point where we really need to know about these things, that we're not supermen and superwomen anymore, that we're going to wear out over a long period of time, and by keeping this we can stay stronger longer.
Stronger longer, I like that. And a lot of the baby boomers are kind of aging too, and so we have a larger population, people with a lot of problems. People are living longer, so they're on more medications. There's more medications becoming available that are keeping people living longer, more drug interactions, things like that. So keeping all that straight is becoming more and more of a challenge.
But we have the perfect book for you to do that.
Absolutely.
It's called Healthy Ambitions, Tools for Taking Charge of Your Health Care by Dr. Tammy Tucker. And this book is available at your local bookstore. It's available at Hastings.
It is
in Mountain Home. It's available here in, well, it's available at your clinic right here.
It is. We have it there.
Right.
They have a couple copies here in the library for checking out if you just want to check it out before you buy it. We have a way you can order on Amazon.com, and also my website, drtammytucker.com. If you go there, there is a link that'll take you right to Amazon that you can order directly. And it's $14.99, and you know, I think that's a great buy for all you get out of there. And like I say, you can photocopy the pages and use them again and again as you go to the doctor. Make a new copy every time for that doctor visit checklist.
Wouldn't it be great if somebody had a full log of they'd have their own medical records that they could hand to you when they walk in? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh yeah, it would save so much time. One of the biggest time users in our clinic, especially when new patients come in, is filling out their medical history. If they've had, 2 or 3 surgeries and they've had any kind of complicated medical history, that takes forever, and most of the time they don't even remember what it was or what doctor they saw. This, you can record your specialist you've seen in there and where you've been and how to access your medical records, and so it just makes everything so much easier. And if you don't have it, you just look in the book and just take the book with you every time.
That's really good. I have a copy of it myself, and I loaned it to another lady today because she wanted to look through it, and she had been in the medical field as a profession, and I want to get her opinion and see if there's anything else she needed to know. And she said great, she was looking at it today, so it's something we all need. Hey, you know what, I'm used to saying we'll be right back, but it's